This is the question I was talking about.
Okay.
I saw it. I feel like it's been asked twice already. And now people are commenting saying, you should ask that question again, person that asked this question.
Well,
and I was like, yeah, it's not that we didn't see it. It's that it's one of those questions like, I don't know how I'd answer this. All yours, JM.
All right. Tommy Fudge. That's a great name. Also, another question. Were the children in Sodom and Gomorrah that perished in the destruction? Is that supposed to say, were their children that perished in the destruction? Yes. Would they not have counted as righteous due to young age? Okay. James Sheets, I just saw, he said he'll take it. So James Sheets, email me, and this is coming to you. Tommy Fudge, if you want for this question before I try to answer it, I'm going to give away, this is the NASB 1977, so the older NASB Thompson chain reference. This was in one of our recent Bible review videos. If you want this one, let me know, and it'll be yours for this question. So Sodom and Gomorrah. We have to, when it comes to Genesis and the question of Sodom and Gomorrah, I'll give you my approach. When God came and told Abraham in Genesis, this is what I'm going to do, Abraham's response was interesting. He said, hey, won't the God of all the earth, won't the judge of all the earth do what is righteous or right? And he was holding God to a standard, say, hey, God, you're the God of all the earth. You've got to do the right thing. And it's implicit in that discussion, God agreed with him. And he even let Abraham barter him down. Abraham said, what if there's 50 righteous people? And remember, he's talking about numerous cities of the plain, Sodom, Gomorrah, and the other cities of the plain. It wasn't just the city of Sodom. And God says, yeah, if there's 50, I'll spare the whole town. And he goes, okay, what if there's 40? And he says, yeah, if there's 40, I'll spare them. And he keeps going. And Abraham has this really fun interaction with God where he's almost like bartering, like haggling with God. But what's driving that is Abram thinking, okay, I know at least one of the people in that city, his nephew Lot. And he's concerned, Abraham is concerned exactly about what this question is concerned about, which is, God, far be it from you to do such a thing. Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? And so the whole discussion presumes that God's not a God who would sweep away the righteous with the wicked. So then the events of Sodom and Gomorrah unfold. The city is destroyed. So what do we have to do with that? Or what can we do with that? This is where I land. First, God made it abundantly clear that he's not a God who destroys the innocent because of the sins of the wicked. And he clarifies this with Ezekiel as well. So whenever we read passages where it seems like innocent people are killed, we have to read it with that prior assumption of Genesis and the rest of the Bible already in our minds, and filter the hard passages through the more clear passages. And so there are numerous clear passages where God's like, I do not hold the innocent guilty for the sins of the wicked. So in Sodom and Gomorrah, there's a couple of options that I land on. Some have suggested that if any of the children, if there were children in the city and they were killed, it's okay because they weren't old enough to have committed evil, and so they went to be with the Lord. I mean, maybe, but that does not sit well with me, because by that logic, you can excuse killing of any children. If somebody blows up a hospital, the maternity ward, you can just say, well, you know, all those babies, they went straight to be with the Lord, so it's not really a big deal. I think it's heinously evil. And I don't think you need to show that it's evil. I think it's self-evidently evil. So that justification never really sits well with me. There's two other things to note. One is it's always possible that there weren't children there. It's possible that the children, that the cities that were destroyed, that were the population level, there weren't children. The text doesn't say, we don't know. I don't think that's as plausible. The last approach for me, though, is when we read Joshua in particular, you read about whole cities being destroyed, no survivor being left, young and old, a child, women, that's the language. Then in the same book in Joshua, you'll also read things that'll say, now the remainder or the survivors of this city stayed in the land and did such and such, or did so and so. Like it'll speak about the survivors, the ones who were not killed. So you'll have scripture giving these absolute claims, like everybody was destroyed. And then you'll have in that same book, the author talking about the people who weren't destroyed, implying that there were survivors, that there were people who escaped, who fled, who joined with Israel, people like Rahab and her family. So where I land is, we know that the judge of all the earth will do what is right. We know that God was allowing himself to be bartered down with Abraham to the point he said, there's even 10 righteous people in this entire area. I won't judge any of it. So we know that there were not 10. And then we also know that in other places of scripture where it talks about complete destruction, using that language, that there are people who were not destroyed. Like it implies that there's possibility for there to be survivors. So I just hold all of those things in tension. And I say, God, I don't know. I don't know what's happened. I don't know how many. I don't have to try to do the math on how many children were in such and such a city when it was destroyed, because the text doesn't really say there were any, especially in the case of Sodom. I just know that God is the just God. He'll do what is right. He does not punish the evil for the sake of the righteous for the sake of the wicked. And that even when there are passages that talk about complete destruction, scripture itself tells us that doesn't mean all. And for every Jericho, there could be Rahab's and her family. So that's where I land on it. And I think at the end of the day, yeah, is that something I can prove? No. Is it something that I have faith in? Yeah, but it's because of what I see in scripture elsewhere. So that's where I land. That's a really good question. Whoever asked it, if you want this Thompson chain, it's all yours. All right, what do we have next, Gregory?